Welcome back, everybody, to the Sick Podcast, Recruits Draftcast. That's right. We are rolling right now. We had Lane Hudson on last week, and this week, no different. We got Mr. Owen Beck joining us in just a few moments. We're going to talk World Juniors. We're going to talk Saginaw. We're going to talk Habs, everything in between. So let's get to it.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to the Sick Podcast. Recruits Draftcast.
And with the first overall selection in the 2023 NHL Draft, the Chicago Blackhawks are very proud to select from the Regina Pats, the Western Hockey League, Connor Bedard.
The sickest NHL draft and scouting podcast. It's gonna be sick.
That's right. Producer Shayne here, joined by our always handsome co-host, Grant McCagg. How we doing?
Hey, we're excellent.
Fantastic. Love to hear it. So let's not waste any time and let's bring him in. Mr. Owen Beck, thanks for taking the time to chat with us. How you doing?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, doing great right now. Thank you. Listen, we know you're a busy man, so we'll cut to the chase. We won't keep you too long. And I think I need to emphasize the busy part, because if we recap the last year and a half that you've had, it's pretty surreal. And I think I'll take the time to kind of jot it all down for everybody watching, right? So if we go back to June 2022, you're in Montreal for the draft. You get drafted by Montreal. Then you fast forward to January 2023, emergency call up to the World Juniors. You end up winning the gold. Not too bad. Get back home. Boom, you're traded to Peterborough. Okay. New change of scenery. Let's do it. Bam. Don't even have time to adapt. You get called up by the Habs, play first game in Ottawa and January 28th. You got 20 days after your trade. Come back to Peterborough, win the OHL champion. Why not, right? And then you play in the Mem Cup. Fast forward to January, you play again in the World Juniors, go all the way to Sweden. And when you come back, wouldn't you know it, you're traded again, this time to Saginaw. A year and 1 day later than you were traded last time, funny enough, January 8th. And now you're set to play in your second straight Mem Cup since Saginaw's hosting the Mem Cup this year. I got to catch my breath for a second, because that's a mouthful. But I mean, have you taken the time to kind of let it all soak in, like the crazy year and a half that you've had? It's pretty insane.
Well, I mean, considering it's still going, not really, but yeah, I mean, just trying to appreciate things as they come. Obviously, there's a lot of very memorable experiences that I've had the past year and a half, and yeah, I mean, I'm super fortunate to have been able to, have those experiences and have those opportunities. But just trying to appreciate them whenever they come. And, I'm sure I'll take the time at some point to look back and appreciate all that's happened in this past year and a half.
That's it. No, it's pretty surreal. Now you're in Saginaw now. You've played 3 games with the Spirit. Might I add, you've put up 9 points playing at a 3-point per game pace, which, I mean, it's safe to say you didn't really need much time to adjust to the new system, right? Like that came pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, it helps when you're welcomed, by such nice and warm teammates, and you obviously play with talented players. That definitely helps. So, the system is kind of built for offense. So it kind of let me kind of get into a flow pretty quickly. I was given great opportunities right when I got there, and just trying to make the best of them.
That's it. And Grant, I know you're itching to ask a few questions here, especially about certain of Owen's teammates. So I'll let you take the floor.
Well, considering that we cover the draft with this draft cast, your first impressions on getting feeds from Zane Parekh?
Yeah, there's not too many bad ones, that's for sure. He's quite the talented player. Obviously, his production is speaking for itself. But in the short time I've known him, he's a great kid. He loves the game. He works hard. He's he's always in the gym taking care of his body and making sure he's prepared to get on the ice. And there's no lack of love for the game from him.
14 points in his last 5 games. So I think you guys are already finding a bit of chemistry there. You find that the power play's clicking pretty good already, right?
Yeah, no, we have. It definitely helps, when we have a lot of threats from every angle on the power play. Obviously Z can score up from up top, and we've been talking about that. And Hunter Haight on the right flank there, he's been hitting a ton of posts, and he actually scored one from my spot the other game there when we ran a little switch. So it's dynamic. We got Sapovalov down low and Mangoni in the bumper there. When you have those threats all over the ice, it definitely helps the power play click pretty early. You don't need a whole lot of adjustment, which is always nice. Obviously, Saginaw's got. I think they're in the top 2. We're in the top 2 for power play in the league, and so we just want to keep things rolling, and stay up at the top there.
And you have a kid that could be a top 10 pick next year in Misa, and is he not even on the top power play at this time?
I wouldn't even call it a one top power play versus another. I think honestly it's 1A and 1B at this point. You've got Misa, who's obviously a fantastic player. An 07 that's keeping up in terms of production with OAs in this league, and so you got him. You got Rodwin Dionisio is another fantastic quarterback on that power play. Jorian Donovan, Josh Bloom, all these threats from everywhere, right? So you can't even, call one unit a top unit versus another. It's just, we're, Dave Drinkle's done, a great job of building a team here that, has a lot of threats. And so obviously, that helps on the power play, for both units.
London's won 12 or 13 straight. I think they've scored 75 and given up 22. Kitchener's pretty loaded up as well. I think it's going to be a heck of a Western Conference playoff this year, isn't it?
Certainly will be. There's a lot of good teams in the West. But we've, like I said, I think we've done a great job of building a great team. We've made a lot more moves than some of those other teams. So it's understandable if we have, not necessarily chemistry issues, but, our chemistry is taking a bit of a hit since the deadline, just with all the new faces and everything. So, I think as soon as we get rolling here, we'll be a great team. We have a lot of belief in our group, and obviously a lot of talented players. So, we're really looking forward to when things start clicking. When we really look to play the right way, and and I think we've got a lot of experience that'll help get us through these playoffs.
Well, last year, you're facing a similar situation where you went to a new team. Had to develop chemistry, and maybe it didn't necessarily happen right away. Is certainly on the scoreboard every night. The Petes, they had a 74-point season last year, and that was the lowest point total for a OHL champ since Kitchener in '81. So when do you think that it came together for you guys and things just started to click? Was it in the Ottawa series, do you think? I know you weren't favored to win that series, obviously, but when do you think it started to click for Peterborough last year?
Game 1 of playoffs against Sudbury.
Okay.
we had a tougher regular season. I think we were only, or I guess I should say the second half of the regular season, I think we were only a couple games over 500. And we ended up in the 4 seed. So we had home ice advantage for one series. And then we ended up being up against Ottawa, in the second series. And obviously they're the top team in the league. So, I honestly think in that Sudbury series, we started, we knew what we had to do in the regular season, but we just nobody would consistently do it. We just, had some issues that we couldn't seem to get over, just consistency issues, it seemed, in the regular season. But as soon as playoffs rolled around, we all came together as a group. We talked about it. We said, guys, we got to, start playing the right way every night. We can't take any nights off. And obviously we went 4 straight on Sudbury. We got a little bit of belief in our group, and we figured, we knew we could do things the right way at that point. We were already battling injuries, but we were still winning games. So yeah, we took some confidence into the Ottawa series, and after that we were kind of just looking to split every when we went into the opposing team's rink, we would just look to split one of those 2 games, and then we knew we would take care of business at home, and that's kind of the mentality that we had going into playoffs, and it just worked from us from then on.
You grew up pretty close to Peterborough. They had a record crowd at the Memorial Centre for Game 6, where you clinched the title. I'm going to assume that you had plenty of family and friends at that game to watch you win the championship.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, maybe not actually, because for a couple of reasons. One, because tickets sold out in 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay.
And another was that I was actually suspended for that game. So,
okay.
So maybe not. I definitely had, my family, some of my immediate family, and maybe a couple friends in the stands. But I got my parents and grandparents and siblings and all that, got to see me hoist the trophy in that building. But perhaps some friends from back home were probably just watching on the TV, just because I wasn't actually in that game. So
were you wearing your hockey pants when you hoisted the trophy, or in civvies, or?
I was in no, I wanted to get dressed, but it was such a close game that if I got dressed and we ended up let's say losing somehow, I would have felt pretty bad. So and almost felt kind of guilty for jinxing it. So
okay.
I almost just I think we were up 2-1 with 5 minutes left, and I wanted to go get dressed, but at the same time I couldn't miss a second of that game. So I just ended up being in my suit when the buzzer went off, and jumped on the ice with the guys, and we just started lifting the trophy. And it's unfortunate that I couldn't be in my gear to have that picture, but I'll sort that issue out this year.
Yeah. Did you deserve that suspension, or what?
Obviously I didn't intend on doing it, but a slew foot is going to be an automatic 2-game suspension. That's just the rules, and it was pretty textbook. It was just unfortunate. I was going into forecheck and was even with a defenseman, and our skates collided. I lost balance, and my arm was in front of his chest, and as I tried to recover my foot, it came back behind his, and trying to regain my balance, my arm came back, and it ended up being a slip foot. There was no arguing it, but it's just it worked out. So.
Yeah, I had blocked it out of my memory, so sorry about that. I'd forgotten that you missed the but it's coming back to me now, the slew foot. You faced Logan Mailloux in the finals. There's somebody who shall remain nameless on an affiliated podcast keeps insisting that Logan's not going to be a regular NHLer. I'm just wondering if you agree with that sentiment.
I mean, he's a first year All-Star in the AHL. I don't think you have too much to worry about if he keeps developing at that rate. So
last one I think on the Habs was PK Subban, last rookie defenseman, and he, Norris Trophy. So I think he made the NHL.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's still a lot of work to do for,
of course,
anybody who's not in the NHL at this point. But I mean,
what was it like facing him? What was it like? He was a 25-minute defenseman. How did you find going up against him in the defensive zone? Was he half decent or what?
Yeah, he was a big body, he was strong. He could finish some checks pretty hard. So just going up against big guys like that, it's not always fun to forecheck against. So yeah, I wouldn't say, he was a liability in his defensive zone at all. I think, I think we had a good system in place to try and break them down. And ultimately it worked because we won. But yeah, I wouldn't narrow out any one guy on their team for that. I think just it was two good teams going at it, and we ended up getting the bounces right. So
I was looking at some stats because when you got traded to Saginaw, obviously you're going to play in back-to-back Memorial Cups. You also got to play in back-to-back World Juniors. Now, I've been following the World Juniors. I'm old enough to remember the first one with Wayne Gretzky back in '77. And I got thinking, there haven't been too many guys that played back-to-back World Juniors and Memorial Cups. And I did, it took me a couple hours today, but I went through every year. And I came up with 5 names, 5 guys before you that Canadians and there's only been one Canadian forward in 47 years that they've had the World Juniors that played in back-to-back, and that's Brandon Reed. And the other guys are Patrice Brisebois, another fellow Hab, Wade Redden, Luongo, Ryan Ellis, and Scott Harrington. So actually 6 guys. But you're the 7th guy and only the 2nd Canadian forward that's ever going to have that honor. So, what a great experience before you turn pro. I hope you can appreciate just how fortunate you are to get those experiences.
Yeah, no, like I said at the start of the show here, I've just been so fortunate, so lucky, and so blessed to have those opportunities, and then throw in an NHL game at 18 years old as well. And I can definitely consider myself lucky and so fortunate to have all these experiences, because like you said, there's only a handful of guys that that have been able to do this. So yeah, obviously there's so many people that have helped me get to this point, and helped give me the opportunity to do this 2 years in a row. So yeah, got to thank everybody, and like you said, just super fortunate to to be in that conversation.
But at the same time, right, there's a luck factor, but there's also a deserving factor. Like you've earned these opportunities. You won the OHL champion. You earned that call-up spot at the World Juniors. You earned, it's still well deserved. So I think you got to be proud of the way you played, and the accolades are coming, and they've come already. But Grant, you gave me a perfect segue here for the World Juniors. Obviously, you're right. This year, probably not the result wished for, but watching, what stood out to me the most was the kind of like the way you guys adapted to the IHF rules, right? Like we remember, Connor Geeky getting thrown out for being too strong, and like, come on, let's be real here.
Too tall.
And then you get boarded and there's no call, right? It just seemed inconsistent from our point of view. So I'm just curious, like, for you guys in the room, how did you kind of like adapt or adjust your game in order to respect those rules?
Yeah, our team identity was just to be resilient this year. We knew we were going to face some adversity. It started in our first pre-tournament game. We had Mullendijk go out with a broken wrist. Even before the pre-tournament, Luno had that infection that just was so random, so unfortunate. We knew we were going to face adversity. We just had to kind of stay even keel throughout the room, not get too upset at anything, and just try to not let anything get us down, and just really play our game. Obviously it's super unfortunate the way it ended there. It doesn't get much more unlucky than that, but like I said, we just tried to stay calm throughout and not let our emotions get the best of us, and just try and be resilient and play our game. No matter what happened.
Mm-hmm.
How obviously you got to see Macklin Celebrini up close, and he's the odds-on favorite to go first overall this year, as I'm sure you know. Just maybe tell me your impressions of him as a player and a teammate.
Yeah, obviously as a player, he's incredibly talented. I've never seen a guy have a puck on a string like that in my life. He just seems to get out of sticky situations whenever he needs to, and I think he's super well rounded. I think he thinks the game well. I think he skates well. He has a good shot, and I mentioned his hands. I think they're pretty exceptional. So, yeah, he's going to be a player down the road, and I think that him as a teammate as well as he's just as good at doing that as he was as a player. So the guys loved him in the room. I got to sit beside him throughout the tournament there in Gothenburg, and have nothing bad to say about him. He was he's a great kid. I love spending time with him, and I know other guys did as well.
That's awesome.
We have a stat from the World Juniors where you led the tournament in face-off percentage, 69.23%. I mean, that's awesome. And do you know, are you leading the OHL in face-offs? I didn't get to see stats on it. I was looking beforehand.
I think I'm somewhere in the top 5, but I don't think I'm in the lead right now. You're
okay. Well, you're gonna have to get that. You're gonna have to fix that.
I'll do my best.
Yeah. You gotta, the coach's poll at the end of the year. You gotta be at the top of that again, right?
I don't even think I was on it last year for.
Geez.
For best face-off taker, but
we're gonna have to fix that for sure. But to just talk a bit about, what makes you such a great face-off guy? What's like? How much have you trained? Is it reflexes? Is it instinct? Bit of everything. What would you say is the secret to your face-off success?
It's definitely a bit of everything. There's so much that goes into it. There's timing, reflexes, strategy. Kind of reading off your opponent, even reading off the linesman. Sometimes not everybody drops the puck the same. Training off the ice, you need to be strong. Being able to maintain your balance, use your feet. Use your feet in the OHL. I guess you can't use them in the IHF, but just all that kind of goes into it, and you got to be able to kind of put that all together and do it consistently as well. So there's a lot that goes into it, and I've just kind of worked on it a fair bit.
So do you study tendencies of your opponent, the centers on the other teams, and know their tendencies to a certain degree, or?
A little bit.
Okay.
In game, I'll definitely watch, but I don't necessarily have video on them beforehand or anything. When I was in Mississauga, I actually used to get a report before games, and I'd always read through that. We had a guy who watched all the video, and he would write up basically a paragraph about their numbers all year, maybe past 5 games, numbers against our team, against lefties, righties, kind of thing, and just their tendencies when they go into the end of the draw, whether they're on their forehand side, on their backhand side. He kind of picks up on that. So having that information kind of helped off the start. Just as a young guy in the league, kind of having that just gives you a bit of a leg up, knowing what the other guy's tendencies are. So if you pay attention to that going into a game, it can definitely help. But yeah, I like I said, I don't have that anymore, having moved teams. So
right.
Yeah, kind of just got to go off, what you see early on in a game, and maybe if you played them a couple times, from previous previous matchups what you're looking for. So
Okay, I know like Fowler, when he was interviewed by the Habs last year at the combine, he was asking if he knew, which way opponent shot, and he could name, he's a righty, he's a lefty, he tends to do this, tends to do that, which I thought was pretty cool. I mean, going back to the Habs, they have a bit of a reputation at the combine for, I guess, they get their psychologist in there, and he asks some pretty crazy questions, or, well, maybe not crazy, but a little different. Obviously, they always ask everybody about what type of animal you are, and we've talked before, and you mentioned that you told them that you were a wolf. You still consider yourself a wolf, or?
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good. I think it's just a pretty good kind of analogy to hockey. We're all we're all part of a pack. Essentially, we all are working together to achieve a common goal. Whether that be on the ice or off the ice. Just
I like that
being
answer.
comfortable in a group and being able to work in a group is just so important. So I just think that's a pretty good relation to answer that question.
So were you expecting to get traded to Sudbury then?
I think the rumor was floating around, but I don't know. I wasn't.
Well, you're a wolf, right? So, I mean,
Jesus.
Yeah. Okay. And keeping it serious there for a minute, which movie did you go see first, Oppenheimer or Barbie?
Never saw Barbie, so Oppenheimer.
Good movie. I haven't seen it either, but I did see Oppenheimer. Did you see Did you see Oppenheimer?
I did. Yeah, I did. Yeah.
What do you think?
Found it a little hard to follow at times. It's very, very political. And I didn't have much context or kind of history going into it. So I was kind of just basing it off what I knew, and there were bits and pieces I could pick out, and remembered, was like, oh yeah, remember that happening before watching this movie, kind of thing. So I knew that was a bit of the story, but like I said, I didn't have a whole lot going into it, and it is kind of tough to follow with all the nuclear science and all this stuff that you don't need to know, but need to kind of understand if you're going to follow along. So
that's it. I think Barbie's right up your alley, Grant. I think you'd love it. You got to check it out.
Well, I wasn't going to ask you. I knew you that's seen it by now, but
okay.
No. You, I mean, as former Scholastic Player of the Year, CHL, not only the OHL, you won the Bobby Smith Award, then you won the CHL. Did you ever consider going the college route? You obviously were good in school. You had good grades all the way up, I would imagine. Was that a consideration for you when you were 15, 14?
Yeah, initially it was. My parents have always stressed having a good education. But it was more kind of what suited me better as a hockey player. Just when I was advised, based on what pathway I should follow, part of it was just, are you ready for the OHL at 16, or will you be more ready to showcase yourself in the NCAA at 18? And I just think, like in minor midget, I was a good size, good weight. So, I didn't feel I needed to wait any longer. I felt the OHL was, good for keeping me close to home for the most part. Very good developmental league. And I felt that I was ready for it, and, didn't feel that high school was going to be sacrificed all that much. When I learned a little bit more about the league, and my family and I had talks, and we ended up just going the OHL route, and obviously kept up my marks and prepared myself the best for post-secondary that I could, if I ever needed to use it.
I know you took off last year. You've been taking any courses this year or anything, or are you just concentrating on hockey?
Yeah, just concentrating on hockey. It's crossed my mind many, many times to take a course, but yeah, I've just never really gotten into it, I guess. There's a couple things, like I said, that I've kind of mind that I think would be useful and wouldn't be bad to keep me occupied. But we do in Saginaw here, we do have a course that we're taking for the second semester. It doesn't end up giving us a credit to university, but it's I guess something to keep us busy, and it'll apply to basically our day-to-day job, I guess, as hockey players. So,
well, if you weren't going to be a hockey player or a Wolf, what do you think you'd be? Like what?
I mean, I've always said I've wanted to go into something in medicine, but doing 12 years of school at this point kind of doesn't seem like the easiest pathway, I guess. But obviously, good things don't come easy. So that's always just something I've been most interested in, I guess, was something to do with medicine. I remember when I got my wisdom teeth taken out, it was my first time being put under anesthesia, and I thought that experience was really cool, believe it or not. Just getting a little needle and then talking to the dentist or whatever for 10 seconds and then being out like a light and waking up perfectly in time for the surgery to be done. I thought that was really cool. So yeah, that kind of sparked an interest in anesthesiology for me.
Wow.
But I mean, like I said, it's at least a 12-year commitment. So, that's something I'll figure out, whether I need to look into later on. So.
Well, I mean, focus on putting your opponents to sleep now, right? For the time being, right?
That's a good thing to focus on. The second half here.
What one player has won back-to-back CHL Scholastic Player of the Year awards. I did a little research on it before it came out. Do you know who that was? In the last 35 years.
Well, I haven't really looked that far back.
No. I just
you don't.
It's just an interesting name. The guy's name is Connor McDavid. So,
actually, I feel like I did know that. I should have known that. But.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not a bad.
Yeah,
anybody that teases you, anybody ever teases you about winning, being the brainiac or whatever, any teammates, you say, hey, McDavid won it back to back off.
Yeah, actually, when I won that, I looked at previous winners and they were all names I recognized from the NHL. So
wow,
definitely not a bad award to win.
No,
obviously everybody wants to be the point leader or whatnot, but obviously there's some weight to that award, I guess. Maybe then people give it credit for. So
I know a couple of years ago I asked you what you wanted to keep working on in your game, and you mentioned that you wanted to start to play a more physical game. Mm-hmm. And it's fair to say that you've done that. Are you happy with how your development's gone, and what would you say that you most need to keep working on to become a good pro?
Yeah, I think I am happy with the way things have developed for me in the physical aspect. I think it was a big part of what led to our success in Peterborough in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
I told you, we had systems to break teams down, and a lot of that had to do with the forecheck and just being physical on teams all series, and it worked, and I think it's a super important way to play. In every single game. It's not easy to play that way, but it brings good results with it when you do. And I think that's something we're starting to realize here in Saginaw. And I think just continuing, I think there's a lot of details that go into being a pro player. I've spent a good amount of time doing video this season at the start of this season with Paul Byron, who's recently
heard of him,
transitioned into a player development role with the Canadiens. So he's shown me so many great clips, given me so many great suggestions and pointers from a recent pro player's point of view, that I feel I'm trying to implement into my game, and that's just something that goes a long way at that level. If you're not touching the score sheet every night, for example, that's what'll keep you there. So yeah, I think that's so important. That's going to be something that I really look to when I watch my own video. Try and pick out little details that I feel I can improve on and add into my game going forward.
Wow. Yeah, not a bad player to learn from. I think we can agree on that. He kind of held his own there in the show. Not bad. Jeez.
Your goal was to make the Habs at camp last year, and you came close. Late cut again, just like the year before. What did the Habs tell you at the end of camp?
Yeah, they said they didn't want to rush anything. I was still 19 years old. I still had a year of eligibility in junior, and they felt that no matter what, it's best for me to come back to Peterborough, or I guess Peterborough at the time, come back to junior and just learn as much as I can while I'm here. There's I guess no sense in wasting that developmental year. And I think there's so much to be learned from. We were just talking about my video sessions and conversations with Paul there, and there's like I said, there's so much to be learned at this level. Playing 20 plus minutes a night as opposed to playing in all situations, as opposed to playing possibly 10 or less in the NHL, and really trying to grind it out as a 19-year-old there when when there's a lot more to be learned when you're getting ice and actually having that experience. So yeah, that's basically the gist of it. When I got sent back, obviously, like you said, it was a goal of mine, but I might have set my expectations a little bit too high. Obviously, being able to play in the NHL at 19 is no easy task, and it's nothing to be ashamed of to not be. So I think coming back here is definitely the right decision. And I think there's again, playing in back-to-back Memorial Cups is great experience in itself, and then just everything day to day is there's so much to be learned from. So like I said, there's just so much to learn. So obviously I'm super happy here. I've gotten off to a great start with Saginaw, and I'm just looking forward to what comes next.
That's it. But I mean, nonetheless, you did play an NHL game. Like it's your first game is done, and
one more than me. Only one more than me.
Yeah, just one. But I think he's going to grow that number pretty soon.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm curious. Like, how did that phone call happen? Is it Kent that called you up? Say, pack your shit, dude. You're coming over.
Yeah. No, I was just going to the rink like any other day in Peterborough there, and well, I mean, I guess it was only 20 days in, but I was just going to the rink per usual in the morning, and we got off to not the best start, I guess, that second half, and so got called into my GM's office, and my coach was in there as well. So I was kind of went in there expecting the worst, just given the start that we had together as a group, and sure enough, they're like, why do you look so nervous? And I was like, well, no, I don't know what you're gonna say, and we haven't had the greatest start. And they're like, well, it's kind of the opposite. You're getting called up to play your first NHL game. So he just said, I just got off the phone with Jeff Gorton there, and that I needed to be out of there by the afternoon and get up to Ottawa and get settled into the hotel, because the following night I'd be playing in my first NHL game. So it was quite a surprise, like I said, given the context of that trade deadline and the few weeks after it. I was obviously ecstatic and got to I still went on the ice that morning. Wasn't allowed to tell any of my teammates because of any possible media leaks or anything. And so it was the weirdest practice ever, because I had this gigantic news balled up inside that I couldn't share with anybody. And so I obviously went home. I called my parents, packed my stuff, told them to hopefully cancel their plans and make it down to Ottawa. So they were able to do that. And then they brought, I think, almost 30 more people with them. So it was an awesome experience. Great to have that much support at my first game, and yeah, super thankful for that experience, really.
Wow. Is there anything that stands out to you that's like surprising? Like you didn't expect that from the NHL, or the sample size is too small, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, like it's kind of crazy just the setup that they seem to have at every rink. It's almost like playing a home game, but you're on the road, just because the facilities are still really nice, and they bring everything with them on the road. There's really nothing left behind. So yeah, and obviously just the rookie lap, it was cool that they had just gotten rid of that, I think, the no helmet rule for anybody who isn't in the league already, and the Montreal just said, we'll take the fine or whatever, go out no helmet, and just enjoy that moment. So yeah, no, that was awesome, and it's a memory I'll never forget.
With all the injuries, like Doc going down, Newhook, etc., you've been wondering if you might be getting that call again this year, or
your phone?
I think my luck's starting to run out in that regard, but we'll see. Obviously that'd be another amazing experience. And I mean, hey, I guess if they needed backup in Detroit or something, I'm only an hour away from there, so I could take a rip down there if they needed. But no, I mean, I'm just focused on what I'm doing here with Saginaw. And again, if that ends up happening,
you're looking at the injured. You're looking at the injured reserve every day. Come on, don't.
No. But like I said, I'd have to buy a lottery ticket if that happened a second time, because I think it only happened like once in 21 years or something.
Wow.
Or I was the first time in 21 years, I think, for the Habs.
Yeah,
yeah, obviously pretty lucky. And then if it were to happen twice in 2 years, then again,
so you're probably
the luckiest guy on earth.
You're at their beck and call, you could say, I guess.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Sorry. Now
you had to do it, Grant. You had to. Do
it. Kirby Dach has not. He's still like under 40% in the face-off dot for his career. I mean, they're gonna need you. They're gonna need you on the team next year just to tutor Kirby, maybe. Jesus. Have you considered that? I mean, you look at the depth chart, I'm sure, on occasion, and think, geez, it'd be nice someday to maybe be on the second line of the Habs, taking centers, taking draws, and maybe moving over to the wing and playing alongside Kirby on the second line. Would that interest you?
Yeah, I think that interests just about any hockey player you ask ever. Yeah. I mean, there's obviously goals that I have, and I guess the sky's the limit for those goals personally. And yeah, it'd be considered a success to just to crack an NHL roster, and to get up to that level in the depth chart and in the lineup, and that'd be unbelievable. So yeah, it's something to strive for. Obviously, you don't start at the top, so gotta work my way into that. And again, that just starts here. It's just everything day to day, just becoming a pro while I'm here, and then being able to step into a role when I turn pro. That's just kind of my focus right now.
You'd be comfortable playing on the wing? Have you played enough? Well, you've played some, right? Obviously, even last year with Canada, did you not play sort of on the wing a bit, take face-offs, but end up playing on the wing some?
Yeah, no, it's I've never really been a dedicated winger for more than 2 shifts
wow.
in a game.
You're too good on face-offs. I mean, geez.
Yeah, so but I don't think it's too hard of an adjustment. I'm starting to play in systems with Team Canada and here in Saginaw that there's essentially no dedicated center unless the shift starts with a face-off. So I end up on the wall enough to kind of understand the responsibilities of that, the positioning, what I need to do in that spot. So I'm sure it wouldn't take too long to get accustomed to that if I started playing on the wing full time or something.
James Richmond, your coach in Mississauga or GM coach, he compared you to Bo Horvat. Now, do you like that comparison? Is that something? If you were to, to ask you to say who would you compare yourself as, you'd like to be as an NHLer, what comes to mind for you?
Yeah, I mean, in an ideal situation, it'd be Patrice Bergeron. I think that's kind of the mold just about every two-way center wants to turn into. But yeah,
not a
I
bad
mean,
one.
Bo Horvat was a guy that I used for a while to kind of compare my game to. Obviously, he's a left-handed shot, but I think there's a lot of similarities there. But I think more recently, and with the development of the physical side of my game, I've kind of started comparing myself to Nazem Kadri a little bit. It's another guy that does things the right way. All over the ice and contributes offensively, has good details in his own zone, but he's also, a pest to play against. He's always in people's grills. He's always playing on the edge. And, that's kind of what, like I said, with that recent development of the physical side, that's something that, I'd compare myself a little bit more to now.
He's got a ring too. Jeez, it's not a bad comparison.
Yeah. Suspended, suspended for the OHL championship game. That's a Kadri type thing too.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what it is, but I think I've got maybe 4 penalty minutes this year. But I've gotten, I guess just as many suspensions in my career as I do penalties this year. I don't know how that works, but
so obviously you learned from your mistake. Like that weight on you. You've only taken 2 penalties since your suspension. Geez.
Well, I mean, I guess you can consider the Mem Cup. I took another couple penalties there probably, and
okay, yeah.
Just I usually just try and stay out of the box. I don't think I've ever had more than 20 minutes in penalties in a year in the OHL.
Right.
So, I just think people ask me about it, and I hear guys say they want to have 100 points and 100 penalty minutes, and I'm just thinking, I don't know what the point of that is, because I feel like you're better. You're serving your team better on the ice than you are in the box, and
absolutely,
you win more games if you stay out of the box and win the special teams battles. So that's never something I've understood. People can, I guess, criticize you for maybe being soft, but I mean, if you're taking 40 stick penalties a year versus 2 to 10 or 2 to 5 to 10, body checking penalties or something, then I don't know how how that calls you or gets you labeled soft. But I just always try to play the game the right way within the rules, but still on the edge as well. So
well, I can guarantee you that Marty likes guys that stay out of the box. Brandon Gallagher last night, he's been taking some penalties in the final 2 minutes of games, and last night, he sat the last 4 or 5 minutes because Marty remembered that, okay, Gallagher's been taking a costly penalty the last few minutes several times this year. And I think he probably got the message. He'll know why he wasn't on the ice the last 5 minutes, because, I mean, you just those costly penalties can kill you. So, definitely you don't want to be and plus, you're the best penalty killer. So if you're in the box, you're not there killing the penalty.
I spend a lot of time on the penalty killer. That's where a lot of my minutes come from. That's in the World Juniors. That's the majority of what I did for that team. And So I mean, if I'm taking penalties, then it kind of screws up the rotation and kind of puts our penalty kill at a bit of a disadvantage, I suppose. So. That's just another reason to stay out of the box.
Mm-hmm. You still using a fat blade?
Yeah, I am. I get a lot of grief for it, but it's
whatever
I've
works.
used it since minor hockey, I think. So like minor midget, I think I've been using it. So I've thought about kind of toning it down a little bit, but just never gotten around to it, I guess.
Yeah.
I imagine you keep winning faceoffs. more faceoffs than anyone else. There's going to be guys switching to it. Some of the center, your opponents.
Yeah, I don't know how much it actually contributes. That would be something I'd like to test out. But yeah, I mean,
may not hurt.
Like a lot of guys that have asked me about faceoffs have kind of jokingly said it is the fat blade, but yeah, I don't know. That's something I'd need to test out to really find out whether or not that's the truth or not. So
great stuff. Do you have any more questions there, Shayne? I think I'm tapped out.
Oh, I'm much satisfied. Owen, thank you so much for taking the time. We really appreciate it.
I did have one more.
Uh-oh.
Just
I
thought of it. It's about Barbie. No, it's not about Barbie. Did you played on a line? Well, you if I recall correctly, Shayne and I were at the development camp, and you played with Meshar. I think for most of the scrimmages and stuff. Just you got to know Philip a bit, obviously at camp and stuff. Just your impressions, and I take it you faced him this year, although you were in different conferences, but you might be facing him in the playoffs coming up. But just give me your impressions of Meshar.
Yeah, I think he's an extremely gifted player. He's super talented. He thinks the game very, very well. He's an incredible playmaker, and that kind of stems off the way he reads the game and sees the game. And I think something that might be a little underrated in his game is his speed. I think he can challenge defenders and one-on-one with his speed, and he's a great skater, so he's shifty as well, and
edges
that allows him to free himself up to make plays that he's so good at making. So his point production is speaks for itself in the league this year. I believe he's leading. Yeah, I think he's leading 04s in points per game from what I saw. So he's having a heck of a year, and he's just a great player and somebody that I'm really looking forward to playing with down the road.
Well, Meshar, Beck, and Doc. There you go. Second line on the Habs.
Nice ring.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Oh yeah.
That'd be great. Well, Owen, it's been fantastic to have you on, and really appreciate you. I'm going to see you Friday in Ottawa.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Your next game. So I might sneak down after the game and shake your hand and say hello. So
all right,
just be prepared for that. It'll be after you get your first star or whatever, so you'll be a couple minutes late. But anyway, good luck,
I'll do my
and
best to be on time.
Yeah, good luck. I hope you guys win it all, and I'd love to see you. It'd be nice not to go in the back door, right? Like I know a few teams lost in the first round and stuff. You guys would like to win the championship, I bet, eh?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like I said, I want a picture with my equipment on with that trophy. So,
there you go.
I don't want to get in through the back door. So, that's our focus right now, and then we worry about the Mem Cup when it's here.
Love it.
Thanks, Owen.
That's awesome. Right, thanks, Owen. Guys. Have a good one. All right, guys. Owen Beck, man, what a guy. The computer on him is pretty impressive, I must admit. He's such a nice guy too, and I think Habs fans are gonna love him. I really do. He's gonna be there for a while too. I'd put money on it. I would put money on it.
I like his confidence. He's obviously he thinks he can be a second line player, top 6 player in the NHL, and I mean, his game is so well rounded that I think he's going to be a player that you can plug in anywhere.
Exactly.
If you need him to play first line center and go up against other teams' top lines, sometimes he'll be able to do that eventually. On the wing, he can do that. Like it's the easiest transition there is, as he mentioned, to go from center to wing. But he's so good on faceoffs that he'd still be taking draws. Even if he ends up playing sort of on the wing with Doc or whatever, how they work it, he'll still be taking draws because he's just I mean, he's so good at the junior level that will translate to the NHL as well, and I'm positive that he'll be a 55 plus face-off guy once he gets experience at the NHL level.
Oh, no doubt about that. He'll become one of Marty's favorites in no time. I'm convinced, and I'd be willing to put money on the fact that he'll be starting in a big role already next season. Like, this guy is ready. He could have made the team last year. How insane is that? He was one of the last guys cut. Even this year, I think he could have made it. But you know what? The reasons they gave him are pretty valid, and I think he is getting some very valuable development in Saginaw this year. So I think everything's going to work out the way it's supposed to, and you're going to see Mr. Beck wearing the bleu, blanc, rouge pretty soon. So, guys, we really appreciate you watching. Thank you as always. And we're not done. All right. We're not done. We got Bobby Margarita coming on pretty soon. Bob McKenzie is going to release his first list very soon. And he's going to be right here. Second list. Midterm. And he's going to be right here to talk about it. Okay. So keep an eye out on that. It's coming very soon. And we're going to have more players. We're not going to tease the names yet. You're just going to have to click subscribe and find out for yourself. But we're not done. I'll just say that. So as always, we invite you, go check out recruits.ca. Lots of fantastic stuff there. Grant's writing great articles about, NHL prospects, the Habs. We also got Rocco on there doing some great stuff. So do yourself a favor, go check that out. And if you like the content we're providing here, subscribing is free, so it's always appreciated. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you thought. Let us know who you'd like us to have. Grant's got all the connects apparently. So if there's a player in particular you want on the show, just let us know and we'll try to hook it up for you. Grant, any final remarks as we depart?
Well, I got to go watch Barbie. I guess you recommended it, so
you'll love it. You'll love it. All right. Well, that's it for us, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you all very soon.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast, Recruits Draftcast on YouTube, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.